Hello everyone, it's Sue Ralph here with Birdcage Craft Studio, and I'm going to be bringing you my crafting tip from me to you, and this is number 58. So today I thought we'd look at reflecting stamping or reflective stamping, and that's where you have an image and then you have an image underneath as if it's in the water. You're getting that reflection. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the steamship today from the Stamp Set Traveller. I have got 3 different inks because I just wanted to show you the difference that the ink can be. And I've also got a clear acetate sheet or window sheet, and I have a piece of the Whisper White Stampin' Up cardstock. So first of all, what you want to do is you want to ink up your stamp. My black ink unfortunately has dried out. I've had it a very long time because I don't tend to use it very much. So I'm going to use the closest I can in Stampin' Up, which is the chocolate chip. So I've just inked it up and I'm going to stamp down my image and just hold it there just for a few seconds just for the ink to transfer, and bring it up, and as you can see I have my image, which is quite clear. That's lovely. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring my acetate sheet in, and again I'm going to ink up my stamp, and then I'm going to just stamp. It doesn't matter where you do on the acetate, any way you like, and I'm just going to stamp straight down, and then I am going to pick up my acetate sheet and flip it over, and then I'm just going to line it up with the first image that I stamped out. Press down, just use my finger to go all over that stamped image, and I'm just going to help transfer all that ink to underneath the first image, like so. And that's not too bad. So it looks like you've got an image on the water. So that's the Stampin' Up one. And then I'm going to use the Memento ink. So Stampin' Up is a water based. The Memento ink, it says it's water resistant and it's a fast drying ink. The best thing to do is not to use an ink that has got solvent in it like StazOn, because that would just dry out too quickly and it wouldn't transfer off your sheet very well. So this is the Memento. So I'm going to ink that up and pop it onto my cardstock. Press down. And that image is pretty good. And then again I'm going to just ink up my stamp. Again, press down onto my acetate sheet. Flip it over and line it up again, and then press down and make sure I transfer all that ink to my cardstock. Whoops, I think I smudged that a little bit because I just came off it, but there we go. So you both of those have got a fairly good image there. And then the last one I'm going to try, just clean this off on my stamping pad. I'm going to use the Memento ink, which is very good for picking out fine detail, and this one has a slight oil base to it, so it just takes a little bit longer to dry. So I'm going to stamp that one down, and then again bring in my ink and I'm going to stamp it down onto the acetate. Like so. Press down and then come in and again line that up, pop down, use my fingers again just to make sure I got that image comes off the acetate, and there we are. So they're all pretty good for you know, the reflection. Unfortunately that one hasn't taken quite in the middle. Now because the VersaFine ink has a slight oil in it, one of the things that you can do if you want a sharper image for your reflection is to sprinkle it all over with clear embossing powder, and then obviously use your heat gun, and the heat gun will actually make that slightly darker. Now I've got another technique, same sort of thing, just to show you. Let me just clear this off. Let's change a stamp, I think. So this one is called Wetlands, and I'm going to use a Canadian Goose. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my VersaFine again, and I'm going to go all the way over my goose. Oops. And I'm going to stamp my goose down like so, and then you get the image for your goose. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my brayer, because this is another way that you can do the reflection. So I'm going to bring my ink in again. Okay, make sure I cover the stamp. And then using my brayer, I'm going to start at the bottom of my acrylic block, and then I'm just going to push all the way over, keeping a firm pressure until I get to the end. And then you can see you've actually got the image. And then I'm going to marry it up, making sure, if I can, that I get them more or less in this right place. You'll probably see my head popping through in a minute. So put the brayer down, roll it out. And I think that the image that you get from the brayer is slightly darker. I think it's slightly better than these other images. Maybe I should have tried it with a steamboat, so you probably would have got a better idea. Let me just put the steamboat back on. Okay, let's have another go with that. Just clean my brayer off. I'm just using a wet wipe just to clean it all off. Make sure I get that image off, because we don't want the boat and the goose. Okay, let's just have another go. So I'm going to use my ink all over the steamboat, and again I'm using my VersaFine ink. So let's just do an image. There's a steamboat. Okay, and then ink it all up again. Get my brayer in all the way over the top, and then so we can marry that up. Oh no, I didn't marry that up very well, and that one hasn't actually come out that well, but I am rushing, but I think you get the general idea. So there's two different ways that you can do your reflective stamping, by using either a piece of acetate, a window sheet, or you could actually use your brayer. So thanks very much for stopping by today, and I will see you again for another tip tomorrow. Bye.